Beef. Howard Witt. That's probably a name you haven't heard. Howard Witt. He used to work for the Chicago Tribune. He's beef number 36. I'll explain. Howard Witt was a reporter with the Chicago Tribune in the around 2006, 2007, 2008. He had written a series of stories about an event that happened in Jenna, Louisiana. And Jenna, Louisiana, there was 6 black kids who had been charged with a crime for beating up a white kid. These were 6 high school black kids. They beat up a white kid, beat him up pretty bad, hospitalized him, and the district attorney there charged these 6 boys with a serious crime. I mean, like, trying to put them in jail for some serious time, because they jumped him and beat him up pretty good. And so the 6 black kids got known as the Jenna 6. And they were this example of how the criminal justice system was so unfair. How this is a high school fight, and they're high school boys, and how could you try to destroy them? This is an example of systemic racism. Oh, the Jenna 6, they've been over-criminalized by this mean-spirited district attorney. Yes, they beat up this white boy and put him in the hospital, but they've been just so abused by the system. Howard Witt's writing this. This is a major, major story. The whole nation is talking about the Jenna 6. There's major protests in Jenna, Louisiana. Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, they're all up in the middle of it. They're all pushing this Jenna 6 story, and oh, this is it. This is how the system is just wrong. And Jenna, Louisiana is stringing these poor high school boys up on a tree. And so, because a couple of them were high school football players, Jason Whitlock, sitting in Kansas City, was like, you know what? I'm gonna fly down to Jenna, Louisiana, and I'm gonna get to the bottom of this story. And I'm gonna find out what's really going on here. And so I read Howard Witt's story, and he is on pace to win a Pulitzer Prize for pushing this Jenna, Louisiana story. I go down there and start interviewing people, and the district attorney ends up giving me an interview, and people in town end up giving me interviews. And I find out that there's a minister, a white minister from Texas, who created the entire Jenna 6 narrative. And I end up interviewing this white minister from Texas who created the Jenna 6 narrative. And the narrative was that he created, that Howard Witt was pushing the Chicago Tribune and pushing across the country, was that let's say in October of that school year, someone had hung a noose on a tree. Again, they love this noose thing. This is their go-to prop. Someone hung a noose at the tree, and the school didn't do anything about it. They didn't find out who did it. They didn't suspend anybody. They just kind of let it go. And that noose hanging on the tree in October is why these 6 black boys in February beat up the white boy. See how that happened? A noose in October is why they beat up this white boy in February. This minister in Texas came up with this narrative, started writing it on a blog, sent it to Howard Witt. I interviewed the minister. He was upset at the time because Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton were getting all the credit for the Jenna 6 controversy and all the protests and everything. And he's like, this is my narrative. I created this. I fed it to Howard Witt, and I fed it to another reporter, and they wrote about it and turned this into a big deal. And so I exposed the fraudulence of all of this. and cost Howard Witt his run for the Pulitzer Prize. And it's kind of comical because they nominated his stories for the Pulitzer Prize, and it may have gotten honorable mention or was in the final run, I can't remember, but it did not win the Pulitzer Prize, and it didn't win because I wrote the counter narrative and told the truth about what happened, how this was all some narrative created by some minister in Texas who manipulated the whole situation. And I exposed, a lot of the fraudulent lies about just how racist Jenna, Louisiana was, because one of these black boys was actually living with a white family in Jenna, Louisiana, because his own family had abandoned him. I just blew the whole thing up. And what's comical is it was part of the package, the series of stories that won me the Scripps Howard Award for commentary. So Howard Witt didn't get his Pulitzer Prize for this bogus narrative. I got the Scripps Howard Award for commentary for blowing up his bogus narrative. And so Howard Witt hated me, threatened me. I think at some point was talking about suing or whatever, because again, I was calling him out by name in these articles and calling out the fact like, nah, man, that white minister, do-gooder, he fed you that narrative, those lies, and you ran with it and stirred up the entire country. And so I'm sure this happened in 2006, 2007. And so as you sit here today and look at the media and how they take these fake news narratives and blow it up, and oh my God, Derek Chauvin, he murdered George Floyd. It wasn't the 20 gallons of fentanyl, it was Derek Chauvin, or whatever story they decide to jump on and turn into a big deal. This thing's been going on forever, and I've been calling BS on it forever. And just to set the record straight, Howard Witt, white guy, can't stand me. Again, I repeat that because there's all these people, oh, Jason's always in it with the black media. I've been killing everybody in the media forever, not just sports media. Call Howard Witt, get my receipts. I've been calling out the fake, bogus news media for stirring up all this racial tension constantly. It's like it's their job, it's their life mission. What can we do to make black and white Americans hate each other and see each other as enemies? That's why I hate the media. Because they want us at each other's throats. And that's why I love calling BS on them. Because they want us at each other's throats. They want us to hate each other. And I come in and say, look at, there go the bad guy. It's actually the media. And the media points back at me and says, no, Jason Whitlock's the bad guy. And that's why I'm shadow banned over social media. That's why we get so much friction here on YouTube. There's such a hostility for anyone that wants to tell the truth and wants to hold both sides accountable. There's incredible hostility towards that. So Howard Witt, Beef 36.